Hey guys, welcome to another client interview. Today we have Rick from Site Guru. And Rick, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and your products, and we'll go ahead and talk about results after that.
Yeah, thanks, Pedro. So I'm Rick. I'm working on SiteGuru, which is an SEO tool that helps people analyze their website and improve it from an SEO perspective. I've been working on that for a couple of years now, and I finally made a switch to working on it full time. So now I'm excited to further improve it.
Awesome, to grow full speed. Okay, so essentially in this case study, we're talking about how we went from getting 1 to 2 customers a month to now getting those 10 customers in the last 14 days. We'll talk about how we did it in a second, but let's take it back, a couple weeks or a couple months ago. Like, what kind of problems were you facing before you reached out?
Yeah, I think my biggest issue was around twofold. First of all, positioning. So how do I position the product in a very saturated SEO tool market? How do I make it different? And then I did have quite a few signups already. So lots of people signing up every day, but I was having a hard time converting them to paying customers. Those were my two biggest issues, and that's why I reached out.
Got it. So you knew how to generate the traffic, but you were struggling to communicate the difference. So people were just struggling to select which tool they're going to choose.
Yeah, that's part of it. The other part is that I also attracted maybe the wrong kind of traffic. So people who would sign up for the tool found some value in it, but we're not the type of customers that would use it professionally and would pay for it. So lots of happy free customers, but that doesn't lead to a happy site owner, of course.
Yeah. Okay. And what about so you had some struggles like communicating the tool and all that stuff. Tell me a little bit more about that. Like, were you struggling to talk about the USPs? Like, how crowded is the market at the moment? What was the main struggle there?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different tools out there. Some are a bit more expensive and very much focused on keyword research and more on the enterprise side of things. Other tools are more developer focused or really require some technical skills. And I think as a founder, it's sometimes hard to distinguish your product and make it stand out because you have all these different things that you're working on. It needs to be simple. It needs to be easy to use. It also needs to be very complete. It needs to be accurate. And I think there's a big risk that as a founder, you're trying to send out that as one big message. And I think with help of someone else, you can really narrow it down and focus on those USPs that really make you different and make you stand out instead of telling everything in one landing page or in one email.
Got it. So you're kind of struggling how to communicate all that stuff. And also with the other problem of getting, let's say, lots of signups, 100 plus signups a month, but then very few would actually turn into customers.
Yeah,
right.
That's correct.
How is that impacting the business and how you have been growing for the last few months or a couple of years?
So the website gained some traction. So there's like I said, there's lots of people signing up, lots of people actively using the tool. But it was really frustrating to see that not a lot of them signed up for the paid plans. And of course, that means that you don't really have a viable business, because if those people don't sign up, I couldn't really make the jump to working on this full time and still make a living. So it was crucial for me to reach that right audience and make sure they converted to paying customer.
Got it. And how long have you been like trying to fix this and playing around with this until you finally were able to get it right?
Well, I think first of all, when I started building the tool, it was mainly about all the technical parts. So how do I get it to work? And I think I've started maybe like 4 years ago, maybe mostly using it for myself as a tool. And then I thought, well, there's something to this. This might be valuable for more people. So I started doing outreach and promoting the tool. That took a while because, well, without that audience, you don't really have a way to convert more people because, well, the numbers are just too small. And then I was at a certain point where I was really confident about the product. So I knew it was something that was super valuable for SEOs, but also people in marketing without too much SEO knowledge. And I also had the audience. So I had enough people signing up. And then the only problem left to solve basically was converting people to paid. So it was really time to start working on that.
Got it. And what were like some of the things that we worked on? Obviously, our main focus is doing this, our particular project is to just convert more people into trials by explaining the product better and getting more people from trials into a paying customer, which is the one that we're talking about right now, because we haven't gotten to the other one just yet, right? So how would you describe that process and the things that we've changed so far?
Yeah, I think what really helped is the beginning of the project, really focusing on identifying the issue and identifying for who the product is. And as a founder, it just a number of simple questions that you raised that really make you think hard about the product and why it's useful and why it's better and how you should position it. So that was a good start. And then secondly, when we talk about conversions, it also started with a number of simple questions. So you asked me to provide the numbers, how many people come in, how many people sign up, how many people are converted to paying customers, and just getting that data. I mean, I had a gut feeling about it, but just getting it out there and getting it from all the tools that I use and seeing it, that really helped identifying where the problem is. So it's not about getting more people in the door. It's really about getting those people to have a good experience with the product so that eventually they'll see the value of the paid product and sign up for that. And it's a good start identifying that issue that helped a lot.
Yeah. So essentially, we highlighted some of the opportunities that we weren't like as clear from working on the same thing for like a long time. And what do we do like after that? So now that we focused on, okay, let's maximize the number of customers we can get out of the same signup so we can really increase the growth rate without like getting more traffic just yet. So then we can focus on that later on. Like what exactly have we done and what are some of the results that we got?
I think one of the first things we did was making sure that people have a good experience. So once they onboard, how do we get them to see the value of the product instantly? The problem with an SEO tool is that you need to run that site audit to really show them the full picture. And I think you came up with some great ideas to get them to value sooner. And that's really helped to make people happier with the product. And I can see that in my metrics. So before, the number of people who would use the tool just once, so basically they would just sign up and never use it again, was a lot higher. And now by making sure that they see the value of the tool as soon as possible, I see more people coming back. So that's a good start. And then the other thing we did is making sure the nudges to upgrade were in the right place. So making sure that I think one of my biggest mistakes back then was that I relied a lot on email. So people would get this onboarding email flow, and they still do, about, hey, this is how you can better improve your site. This is the status of your free trial. You should really upgrade. And I think you were just very blunt and said, well, people don't really read their emails. They end up in the update section anyway. So you need to focus on within the app. What's the messaging there? And I think that's improved a lot. So instead of relying on emails, we are now much more relying on the actual experience that the user has. So while using the product, that's the time you need to get them to upgrade instead of sending them an email when they don't care and doing other things.
Perfect. And like just so other people that are seeing the interview right now like understand, is this like mainly around messaging in emails and within the app, or is it something that it would require like tons of changes in their product? Like how easy were to make these changes in their products just to make a few things clearer?
Depends, but I think a lot of the things that we did were quite easy to do and just a simple way, and that really helped to try things out. So we would always agree on, hey, this should take me 2 hours to fix. The perfect solution may take a bit longer, but let's start with a quick and dirty fix. See what that does. If it results in any more signups, and if so, then double down on that and make sure that we make the perfect variant of that. And I think we have this nice cadence where we have our calls, and then between the calls I have my time to make the changes. And then when I present it in the next call, then get some feedback on it and iterate on it and make next steps. So instead of doing any big bang releases. It's really making those small changes. What can we do within a few hours, and then build on that. And I think that's super valuable.
Perfect. So we didn't have to redesign the entire thing. We just focused on making a few more things clearer in the UI we already have mainly.
Absolutely, yeah.
Perfect. Okay, I think that sounds really good. How did this affect the business, right? So we went from one customer a month, like 1 to 2 customers a month, and we got 10 in the last 14 days. How did it affect like the business, or how you feel about the potential of you growing, or any other ways that it might have affected like your life and business in general?
Yeah, so it's an exciting time for me because this is the time where I decided to basically focus all my attention on this project. It used to be a side project, and so I feel quite some pressure to make it, worthwhile and to make it happen. Um, and I always had this goal in mind that if I can at some point get to 10 new customers every month, I did my calculations and I knew that, well, if that happens and I'm able to control the costs and upgrade enough people, then I can make a living out of it and I can work on it full time. So I didn't really expect that to happen in the first month of working on this full time. So it's super exciting to see that, and it gives me a lot of confidence that we're on the right track, because I'm already hitting the number that I was aiming for in 3 or 4 months from now. So that's super exciting.
Awesome. And we aren't really done yet, so we haven't done the other half of the work just yet.
I don't think we've done anything on the homepage or any of the landing pages yet. It's all within the app and some emails that we may have changed.
Perfect. Awesome. So we got rid of the low-hanging fruit right away. Okay, what are some of the, now that we talked about impact, we talked about the problems you had in the past, what are some of the lessons that you learned? How did it change how you're thinking about the products and how you should sell it? Or how did it change how you're thinking about your business in general?
Yeah, it's really made me wonder who the product is for. And it may sound strange, but I'm now seeing a lot of more in-house marketeers signing up for the product that may not be the SEO specialist that I was originally aiming for. And then I realized, well, there's a lot of value for them in the tool. It's a bit cheaper, so they don't have to pay a lot of money on expensive SEO tools that they don't really understand anyway. And it's much easier to use because there's not too much jargon in it, and it's really aimed at people who don't know everything about SEO. So that's made me wonder how I should position a product. And I think having the conversations with you, that really makes you think about that more than just building an SEO tool that's for SEO professionals. So that's been really helpful.
Got it. And what about like the lesson that we talked about earlier on, where you're saying that, I mean, obviously as an SEO guy, you might get a little excited about getting more traffic. How did it change like your perspective from, hey, let's just get more traffic, more people coming in, to let's just fix this leaky bucket and squeeze as many conversions as we can, as much money we can out of the trials we're already getting?
Yeah, so initially my focus was really on getting more traffic, for two reasons. First of all, without traffic, you're not going to convert anyone. So you need a decent amount of traffic. But I've also for a long time believed that I was getting the wrong kind of traffic. So the traffic that I was getting were not the right people that would be willing to pay for an SEO tool. And although that might be the case, we've now shown that even with this type of traffic, that may not be the perfect audience, we can get to 10 paying customers a month. And that's just super exciting to see.
Awesome. Okay. And looking back at our initial call that we had, right? What kind of kicked you over the fence? Because obviously we talked about lots of different strategy, a lot of different tweaks that we want to do. And some of them weren't something you maybe thinking about. What kind of kicked you over the fence to say, this is something I need help with, or I want Pedro's help with?
Yeah, I think we initially started talking about landing pages. And maybe back then I was a bit naive and hoping that you would give me some solid advice in that call that I could start working with straight away. But in reality, it was just you asking a lot of questions. And sometimes those were difficult questions that I really need to think about and made me reconsider my strategy. And I think it's the right type of questions that really make you think. And that really helped. And to me, that's also another more evidence that an outsider's perspective can really help. And that was just super cool. And I think you've seen a lot of SaaS products, and to get someone to with that knowledge to look at my product, that's just super cool. And especially then if, yeah, it really feels like we're doing it together. So you're asking a lot of questions and then coming up with some ideas, and then it feels like we're building those solutions together. So that's, yeah, that's was clear from that first call, and that's the approach I like. So that kicked me over the fence. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. In terms of like, for example, if for all these other people that might be listening to the interview afterwards, like, would you recommend them to work with me?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we started off making some small changes, and we saw the results really quickly. So I was quite easily convinced that this was the right decision for me, and that I needed this type of help and this expertise. And yeah, that's definitely for me. It's a no-brainer. I would do it again any minute.
Awesome. And if, let's say, someone is looking at this interview, going through other interviews, or maybe thinking about booking a call or thinking about becoming a client, what would you say to them that would kind of kick them like themselves over the fence as well?
Yeah, I think what also really helps is that you just get this new, fresh energy from having these discussions. If I look at myself, and maybe that doesn't apply to everyone, but I'm a solo founder. I'm just sitting here behind my computer, building on a stool and getting some feedback from clients. But that's mostly just superficial and not too. Yeah, we don't really go too deep, and it gives a lot of energy and a lot of new insights if you have someone on board that almost feels like a colleague, but has all these fresh new ideas, know what works and what doesn't work, and can really help you get started and make the right changes.
Awesome. That's actually something I haven't heard in an interview, so but definitely something I should have in mind because that's good feedback. Okay, I think that sounds good. Essentially, to wrap this up, if you're looking at some of these interviews, some of these clients, essentially what your next step would be would just to like book in a call, so I can figure out if I can help you or not, and then from there we'll just book in another call, just like we had with Rick, where we're gonna identify the 3 or 4 things that we can do in order to get like the kind of results like you're seeing in the rest of the page, right? So if that's up to you, just go and click the button below to apply for a call. And yeah, just want to thank Rick for joining this interview, talking about these amazing results, and looking forward to keep working with you because we still have like around 40-50% left to play with.
Thanks, man. Happy to help.
Awesome. Cheers.